this is Trinesha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about Believe It. And this is not to be confused with the Jamie book that I talk about all the time that's called Believe It, and it's about the owner of It Cosmetics and how she got started and the struggles that she went through and the things that she was able to do to become a $1 billion business. And so I really think that is like one of the best books that I've read in my entire life. It's so inspirational, it's so relatable. It's one of those like it's one of those stories of like the person who you're like rooting for the person to succeed. And although, we already know that she is successful and has been through a lot of the things in her story are out, on the internet and things like that. But it's something different about going through that journey with her through her story to hear how she actually made it where God was taking her in her life and she's not done yet. And so, what made me want to call this Believe It is earlier today, I was just thinking about my faith and I was thinking about like how I've been kind of feeling I've been feeling fine. I've, been through the waiting season. God has been showing me things are possible that I didn't believe anymore. And I don't know about you, but when God makes things happen, it's amazing when it happens. And then it's like, oh shoot, like it's happening, it's like it's really happening. I don't know what to do right now. And it's just God is just so amazing. He surprises me every single day. Every time I think I got it figured out or I know what's about to happen next or I know what God's next move is going to be or I know what he's going to tell me to do, he switches it up and it's something totally different. And I might get the hang of one thing and he's like, nope, don't get comfortable. Like, your job is to live in uncomfortability. I want you to be uncomfortable so that you could succeed in all the areas of your life that I want you to succeed in. And you're not going to be able to do that if you're holding yourself back. You're not going to be able to do that if you're just trying to stay stagnant in one area because it is comfortable. And so it's so funny because I just, I've been kind of feeling lately like, I've been doing things that I'm supposed to be doing, but it kind of feels like I'm checking a box sometimes. Like I don't always feel like, oh yes, I'm doing this because I'm totally in it. Sometimes it really does feel like, okay, I'm going to church. I'm checking a box. I went to church. I'm checking a box. I went to Bible study. I'm checking a box. I spent time with God. I'm checking a box. I read my Bible. And I really have to be cognizant and I really have to remind myself where I am, like why I'm doing it, why God is so important to me, how he saved me. I really have to keep on putting at the forefront of my mind how good God really is and that he's not through yet. And I never want to get complacent in my relationship with God and feeling like, okay, well, God's done all these things for me. I no longer have this tight, close knit relationship with him. I want to always be that close to God. And so, as I'm going through this journey, I'm in this weird position right now where I feel comfortable where I am. And that's one of the reasons why I was kind of like going back and forth about some of the decisions I made in my life because I was like, this is a place that I could get comfortable in. And I knew like this would be something that I would like. This would be something that I would feel content in. But I don't want to live a life of contentment. I mean, I want to be content with the blessings that God's given me, but I never want to settle there. I always want to strive for more in my life. I always want to be more. And I'm so comfortable right now. It's really hard to be uncomfortable. And I'll like try to do stuff and it's like it's a little uncomfortable and I'll try to keep on like doing things that are making me feel like to get out of my comfort zone or to do something different. Like I'm at the point in my swim class right now where the techniques that I wanted to get down, I've gotten down. There's one more thing that I really wanted to do in swim class, but I can't do it there. I would have to go to another class in another location in order to learn that technique. And so I'm still in the class, but I was like, I really know that I should have ended the class this month because everything that I came to learn, I've conquered. So I don't need to continuously stay there just because I'm comfortable now. It would be different if, I was doing it for another reason, but my goal, my reason for doing all of these different things in the beginning was so that I could be uncomfortable, so I can learn new skills. And if I've learned it, I'm not saying I'm like Michael Phelps in the water or anything like that, but I'm good enough to where I feel comfortable. I'm good enough to where all of the things that I wanted to learn, the back floating, the backstroke, the freestyles, the breathing techniques, out of the water or um back floating, or whatever else it is that I learned in the class. I've learned all of those things. And so I'm not saying I'm a master at it, but I'm proficient in that, proficient enough to swim from one end of the pool to another, or whatever else. And so I feel content with where I am. I feel good with where I am in swim class. And when I went to dance class, I went there because I wanted to feel uncomfortable because I know that I'm not the best dancer, but I love to dance. And so it was one of those things that I got to learn. I got to learn a new technique and I got to do something that I loved doing. And I still think I might go back and maybe do some more dance stuff. But another thing that I was thinking of doing is going into a dance competition, like just to do that once, just because I was such a horrible dancer in the past. And I can learn anything. That I always say that one phrase that I know from Tai Chi, but I'm not gonna say it in this video. I might, because somebody might not have watched the other video, but it's Shi Bang Gong Bei. And what it really means is if you study something efficiently, you can learn it in half the time. And if you really put all your focus into something, you can become proficient in that skill. And so I really try to, when I'm learning something, even if I don't get it right away, which is so funny because the unsaved or unrededicating my life to God version of me would have just given up at the very beginning. Like I used to be the type of person that felt like if I didn't learn a skill right away, if I started a sport and I didn't know how to do it right away, or if I started a dance class and I didn't know it right away, if I was learning anything and I didn't pick up on something the first day, I would think it wasn't for me. I would think that was something that I shouldn't be doing in my life. And now that I'm older, now that I'm growing and I'm more emotionally intelligent and I'm learning about constructive criticism and I'm learning how to take, advice and things like that from the right people, I am learning that, just because you don't know how to do something right when you start to do it, sorry, right when you start to do it does not mean that that's not what you're supposed to be doing. If it was supposed to be easy, everybody would be doing it. It's not that God is trying to make you not be able to do something, or even when God gives you with something, you could be good at it, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be your best at it. You still have to become better at that skill. It's not just like you're going to wake up and then all of a sudden you just know everything, and I'm not saying like, when it comes to fishing, like the men, when they were out on the water and Jesus said throw your net to the right side of the boat, and it was so many fish they could barely pull it up. They had to get other people to help them pull up all the fish that were in the net, but before they couldn't get any fish. Like, of course with God anything is possible. I also think that when you're going through life, just because something is hard or just because you're not the best at it right away does not mean that that's not something that you should be doing. I think any skill can be learned. And especially if God is in it, if you know that God is pointing you in that direction, learn as much as you can about that skill and become the best that you can at whatever it is that you're doing. And if it's something that's not you, like I really love math a lot. But if someone else I know is more creative than me, then they're the person that maybe should create things for my business. And I could be the person who's working numbers and making sure that I hire the right people, because the smartest person knows who to contact to be able to become more successful. So I'm not saying I need to be proficient in everything, but I do need to learn a little bit about everything, because I want to have an idea of what's going on in my business. I want to have an idea of all of these different things. I don't want to just learn one skill and that's it. I could study a skill for 8 years and become a master at it, but I am the type of person that just loves learning. I would get too bored doing one thing over and over again unless it was my passion. So when I'm learning new things and new techniques, it's usually because I just want to learn that skill. I'm not trying to become the master at it. But I do want to be in a place one day where if if it's part of my purpose and God is saying, okay, I want you to, let's say, be a speaker. If I know I'm good at speaking, or I love to speak, but I'm not the best speaker, maybe I could take seminars. Maybe I can go to life coaches. Maybe I can go to different places and then just keep speaking and speaking in public until I become better and better. Maybe I'll learn new skills. Maybe I'll, do different things to sharpen my skill in public speaking so that I can become the thing that God purposed me to do. without giving up because I feel like I'm not that good at it, or without just doing it for a little period of time. So so as I've been going through like this thing lately, I really have been feeling kind of like routine. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like it kind of just, I feel like there's more that I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know. And I don't want to ever make it seem like I'm being ungrateful because I'm totally grateful for every single thing that God does in my life. I'm grateful for, my hair at any length, my eyes being able to see, my nose being able to smell, my ears being able to hear, my mouth being able to talk, to taste, my neck providing support for my head, my shoulders, my every single part of my body, my organs, functioning properly, and the house that provides shelter, the car that gets me from point A to point B, the bed that's comfortable, water, hot and cold, everything that God has given me. I'm so happy and grateful for every single thing that God has given me in my life. Every single thing. And it's so weird, but I feel like there's more. I feel like, I don't want to say I'm not supposed to be here, but I feel like there's something else that I'm supposed to be doing. And I know what my purpose is. I just don't know where I'm supposed to be in this purpose. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, I know I'm supposed to help people. I know speaking life into people and helping people is my thing. Like, that's my whole purpose here, is to make sure that I see people, like truly see them, because I have this way of just being able to relate to anyone, just being able to like really truly let people know that they're not alone, to not be like judgmental towards people or make them feel badly for the decisions that they made in their life, because I mess up all the time. I just really have this gift that God has given me to really be able to truly let people know that they're not alone, and to like, I don't know, it just, and it's nothing wrong with my life at all. Like, I love everything about my life. I'm so comfortable where I am. It just, I truly feel like, I don't know what else is supposed to be happening, but it just feels like there's more. Like there's something more. Like this isn't just it. Like I'm not just supposed to do the videos, and you know, I feel like everything that I'm doing is for something else. Like I'm here so that I can be appreciative of where I started. I'm here so that I can be appreciative of the things that I have right now so God can bless me with more. I feel like I'm here right now so that people in different positions won't be able to reach the people that I can reach, because not a lot of people know who I am. So right now I'm in a place where I can help all of those people without it being a distraction. And I never want to be in a place where I don't get to help people because, you know, all of a sudden more people know who I am or something. Like I always want God's name to be big. I don't want my name to be big. I just want to be in my purpose. I just want to help people. And so I don't know what it is, and I'm being obedient, and it's so weird because the things that God's telling me to do, that nothing's happening in there. Like I'm doing those things and I'm being obedient, and I have my business. My business is just, I mean, it's there. you know I'm in like this weird season where it's there. Like I don't know. I don't know. Like I did the thing that God told me to do, but it's not really doing anything. So I'm just like, and I know sometimes God tells you to do things because he wants you to be obedient. It's just like, okay, like God's like, move 2 steps to the right. I move 2 steps to the right. And in my head, I'm thinking God's telling me move 2 steps to the right so I can avoid this thing that's falling from like the building or something. I don't know. And in real life, nothing happened. I just moved 2 steps to the right. God's like, stop at this store or something, or help this person. And I help the person, and it's nice because it's always more blessed to give than it is to receive. But I feel like there's something else I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I don't know if I didn't say something that I'm supposed to say, or if there was this something that the person needed that I was so in my head that I didn't take the time to really just pay attention to what was going on in that moment. So it's just things like that have been happening. And it's just, although I'm like going these places and I'm talking to different people and, I'm doing certain things with my business, it's like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And then I'm like at this place now where I'm second guessing the decisions that I'm making, and it's kind of like, am I supposed to be doing this? Am I supposed to be at this place? Am I supposed to, and I clearly know when it's God in all of the situations. It's just for me, I'm like, okay, well, usually this is the thing that's making me second guess it. Usually in the past, what would happen is God would say, stop at this store. I'd meet a person and we end up doing business together or something. Or I go to this place and there would be this guy that I'd have a conversation with, and it wouldn't be like a conversation like, oh, he's trying to hit on me and it's some other stuff. It would be like a real conversation, and the thing that he says would be something that helped with my business, or it would be something that it was something that I needed to hear to understand, whatever was going on in my life or in someone else's life. And like maybe I didn't ask the guy a question about, okay, what does this mean or something like that, but it's just more like giving me a perspective from like men in my family or something like that, or guys in general. And it's just like, oh, okay, but it's not like I'm asking questions about what does it mean if a guy does this. It's more like a, this is what's happening in this guy's life and how it's hard for him to go through certain things. Like some people will come up and they'll really just vent to me about certain stuff. And even though like they think I'm helping them, sometimes they're helping me. And so it'll usually be something like that. But now it's been like God's like, do this thing here. And I'll do it and I'll be obedient. And then God will say, okay, take this person out your life. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I can take this person out of my life. Like, they seem like a nice person, like a nice friend or whatever else, but okay. And usually, like, once God removes someone from my life or something, it'll be something huge that I avoided. And I end up learning, like, wow, this person wasn't who I thought they were, or, it wasn't going to be the things that I wanted it to be, or this friend wasn't really going to be a friend, or in order for me to go to this level, I couldn't take this person with me because of this, and God is working on this thing in their life. Like, I don't have no reason at all. God's just like, move this place, remove this person, and that person's removed, and I just feel like, okay, like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like, it feels like I'm doing a lot of things and nothing at the same time. And I don't know if anyone can relate to that at all, but really feels like I'm doing of things and a bunch of things and nothing. I don't want to say a lot and nothing. It just feels like I'm doing a bunch of things and nothing at the same time. Like, I'm busy, I'm working, I'm doing things, I'm working on my business, I'm doing things like that. But the things that I'm doing for my business just feels like it's like it feels like, I don't know. I don't want to say mundane because it doesn't feel mundane, but it just feels like a perpetual cycle of doing a lot of the same thing. It doesn't feel like I'm doing anything. You know, it kind of feels like I'm doing a lot of nothing. But I know when God is moving, sometimes it can seem like you're doing nothing, but God's working things out in the background. And so even though to me it doesn't seem like anything, God could be doing a lot right now. And I just don't know. I'm just here. I'm just doing whatever it is that God says to do. And, it's getting, sometimes it's a little difficult. I call on God and I'm like, God, I'm really struggling today with this. I'm really, I really want this. I really would like to have this in my life. God, this is happening here, and things like that. And I'm talking to God, and even when I'm reading the Bible, like for the past like 3 days, I haven't been getting any like, nothing's been standing out. Usually I'll read the Bible and it'll be the story of God like healing the blind man or something like that and telling him to tell no one because, people can kind of see the Christ in you even though they don't know that that's what happened. And usually I'll feel something in my spirit and it'll be like, this is how it's going to be in your life, or something. Or I'll feel something in my spirit and it's like, this is why you need to be faithful because although you don't know what the changes are or, the change is evident to you, people might not see that change, but they'll know because they know me. They'll be able to see God all over you, but you won't have to say that God is doing these things in your life. They'll just know, or something like that. And the past 3 days that I've been reading the Bible, it's like I've been reading it and I'm looking at the words. I'm reading the words, but I don't feel anything in my spirit. Like, it's hard to describe, but it's kind of like, I don't know. And I'm focused and I see it and I'm reading it and everything else. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. Usually I'm so spiritual. Usually I'm so like focused on the word where I can just feel it in my spirit. And the past 3 days, I haven't felt anything. I just kind of felt, I just saw the word. It's like me reading like a history book or something, like you're reading it and you see dates and stuff, but it's like history books for me. It's like, okay, this happened at this time. But when I'm reading like a memoir or I'm reading something like the Bible, usually it's like the Bible's way more powerful than a memoir. But usually I feel something, and it's kind of like, oh wow, and certain words will just like stand out so much to me, and it's like, oh, okay, this, and this, and I know God doesn't always use the same method. Sometimes it's the Bible, sometimes it's when you're praying to Him, sometimes He'll use another person, sometimes He'll use sermons or whatever else, or it could just be a random person that just says, everything's gonna be okay, or it'll just be something like that that will give you a message. And I did get something today, which was the believe it thing, because I was telling God, I don't know what's going on, but it just feels like I don't want to say I don't have faith. I do have faith. I do have hope, but it's kind of like the belief is like not the belief in God, but the belief in things happening for me in certain ways, in certain areas of my life. It's kind of like I feel so close to something and then nothing has been happening in the past, or I get so close to certain things and it's just like, you know, it's just not the time yet, or something like that. And so the pastor today in the sermon that I was listening to, he said, and I did feel some things in my spirit then. It felt like my spirit was waking back up or something. I don't know how to describe it, but he was saying, what's the point of writing down all the things that you want in life if you don't believe in it? When he said it, it almost brought tears to my eyes because I was like, that's what a lot of us do most of the time. We'll write down, I am, healed. And we won't put in the work to get healed. We won't take it to God so that God can heal those broken pieces of us. And then we sit there and we feel like nothing's happening because we haven't laid it at God's feet. Because we're not believing for it. We are just saying the words as if that's going to make it happen. You have to truly believe the things that you are saying. You have to call the things that are as if they already are. That call the things that are not as if they already are. So if you don't have any money right now for whatever reason, then write down that you're wealthy and believe it. Figure out what you have to do. Focus on God. Like, don't idolize the money. Focus on God. And then figure out a plan, a course of action of how you're going to get this money up. I'm not saying you got to hustle and bustle. I'm saying that if you are putting forth an effort and God sees that you're working, that you're being a good steward, God is going to bless you with more finances. He's not just going to leave you hanging. But you have to believe it. You can't just say I'm going to be wealthy and then in the next breath talk about how you aren't. You can't just say that you want all of these things and then never believe for any of those things. Like, I can't say I want a kingdom spouse and then sit here and never believe it because I haven't seen it in my life. I'm going to have hope for things that are unseen. That's what faith is. Faith is not God just showing you a whole bunch of examples. And it's funny because I'm going to try not to cry. It's funny because, you know, a lot of people get on Thomas, doubting Thomas, Didymus in the Bible, because he said that in order for him to believe that it was Jesus, he would have to see the place where the nails were in Jesus, well, while he was on the cross when he's resurrected. So Jesus comes into the place where the disciples were before, and shows he tells Thomas to put his hand on the side where the nails were, and he feels it. He feels the hole where the nail was, and he believes. And the pastor used this message, which not a lot of pastors do, but I'm glad that I went back and listened to this. It was like a 2019 message, and God was like, listen to it. And it was about something totally different than what was my question, but the part in there was the answer to the thing that I was praying for, but I didn't know at the time. And so as I'm listening to it, the pastor said sometimes God will show you what it is that you hope for because he knows that you need something else. Like a lot of people will say, that Christians just need to believe in these things that they've never seen before. But sometimes God cares about you so much, he will give you an example of what it looks like. Or he will, like, you might be the blueprint for your entire family, but he might give you something that's like, I don't want to say incentive, but it's like the thing that fuels your belief, that allows you to believe for more. And so for me, I believe that God introduced certain guys in my life that are actually kind, that actually are intentional or at certain stages of their life, and they might not be the person who is my kingdom spouse, but I believe that God really allowed me to see a different type of man because he wants me to see that there is a possibility of something like that in my future. I'm not saying any of those guys are ever it, because they're not grace for me. But it did help me, like, not just be so cynical and be like, well, I don't know if that even exists, I've never seen anything like that. So like, how would I even know that that's a possibility? Like, yes, I believe in God, and I just started forgiving myself for the decisions I've made in the past. So for me to actually be in a position where I can actually be who I would need to be in a healthy kingdom relationship, to really put my foot down, to really have healthy standards and boundaries, to really be about that God life, to honor and respect myself, to not catch every test but the right test, to do the things that I need to do. Like, it's a lot of pressure. It really is. And nobody is going to catch everything. Like, I don't know one woman that is interested in someone that would ever be in a position where they would feel like every single thing a guy does wrong, they're going to just be so on top of things, so perfect that they're never ever going to make a mistake in their life. Like, I don't know one woman that's like that. I don't know if I could be like that. I don't know if I could just always be so aware of everything that I would. So it's hard for me to sometimes see the possibility of there being a person like that, because it's like, how do I even know if I could be? I don't want to say strong enough, because God's proven to me that I've made it through a lot of things and I am a strong woman. But can I be that type of woman that would need to be the way, like, could I be that type of woman that would be able to be that for that guy, that God is grace for me, you know? And I know people probably don't even get it. They're probably like, "What is she talking about? How are you gonna be that guy? If God is grace you for this guy and this guy for you, how could you feel like you're not, you know, gonna be prepared?" I know God would prepare me in the meantime, but I don't even know how I'm gonna get there. Like, I don't even know when I would be in a position where I would even be that prepared to be with someone like that, you know? And some people are probably like, you just thinking way too much into it. God got this. Like, just relax and just do the things you need to do. And then along the way, God is going to prepare you and you're not even going to know that you're ready. Like, it's so weird because I had a conversation with this guy and he tested me. And, I, being a nice person, was just like, okay, and then right after I said, okay, I said, ugh, like real frustration in my voice, like, really, really. And I was like, it, other people are going to say this isn't really that big of a deal. You're overdoing it. I mean, you're overthinking it, whatever else. But I was really like, and so now I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. None of that makes any sense. People are like listening to it like, what is she talking about? But listen, it's just like, you get tested in certain areas and people will try to like push your boundaries to see how far you can go and things like that. And I was intentional about what it is that I was planning on doing with my life. But the person had asked me something and I said, oh, no, And then they said, well, do you mind this, this, and this because this, and this? And I said, maybe about 5-10 minutes, something like that. And then they were like, okay. So immediately I was like, no, I should have just said no, not 5 or 10 minutes, nothing like that. I just need to, do what it is that I have to do because I got things to do in my life. But not like the person is unimportant or anything like that, but just so my schedule, my intentions, the things that I have to do wouldn't be changed for another person. And so I was just kind of feeling like after that, like, dang, it feels like I'm never gonna get ready for that. But I am gonna get ready for it because God is in control and He's the one that's gonna make these things happen. But just moments like that is like, I got a lot to do to prepare because I mean, God has a lot to do on the inside of me to get me ready for whatever it is that He has for my future. Because every time I think I'm ready for something, and God's like, okay, well, I still have you in this waiting season. And I'm like, I'm in the waiting season, but I'm good. I feel fine. I'm content, this and that. And something will happen, and I immediately go back to the person that I used to be. Or I'll say something before I get a chance to think about it. Or I'll do something and it'll remind me of the person that I was before I was healed. And I'm like, what? That's not even what I want. Why would I even say that? And some people could say, well, maybe you're not healed yet. I feel healed. I just don't know what to do. I feel so oblivious to what this even looks like. Like, what am I even supposed to be doing right now? Like, I don't know how to act. I don't know how to act. Let's just keep it at that. I don't know how to act. And this video might not go up because, that was a lot of rambling and people probably couldn't follow it. So, I mean, if they could, that's great. If not, I do apologize. It was not my intention to be so unclear. So, let's get back on track. So, when the pastor had said that sometimes God will give you something like that to kind of give you incentive. I'm just going to use that word because I can't think of anything else that's close that I could put in this scenario. And so God will give you some sort of incentive that will keep you focused on your purpose, that will keep you pushing forward in the things that he wants you to believe for. Like if you're believing for becoming a millionaire, sometimes he will show you, hey, you can become a thousandaire. You can become this and that, and you can be in this place and that place, and you'll go and see things that you never thought that you would ever be able to see in your life. And God will, that's not you being a millionaire, but it's kind of the incentive to believe. And even for me, it's like God will allow me to meet a kind guy. And I didn't know kind men existed. People are like, really? Never met a kind person? No, but seriously, I've never I've always been so cynical, and I've always had like this certain type because I didn't think that that was a realistic idea of a relationship. I always thought that every person was supposed to be miserable and just, it wasn't a possibility, for someone to really be a good person. And so I really feel like God did that to kind of like turn that cynicism out of my mind, to be like, oh, look, this might not be the person who's for you, but look, there are kind people. And then like he'll let me meet certain people, and one guy would be like, oh, that's too much. I, what you want, you know, to actually get to know me? No, like that's a lot. Blah 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 blah. And then it'll be another guy that comes along that's like, I definitely want to get to know you. Why wouldn't I want to get to know you? And it's just like, oh, okay. I thought that was just some kind of like, um, I don't know, feeble, or I don't know what, some kind of fairy tale, some kind of unrealistic, thing that some person out there made up, or I don't know. But I was like, oh, there actually is a possibility for someone to actually do that, because I have never met anybody that would do something like that. Like, and I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna be completely judged, and you know what? It's fine, because there's other women and men that probably feel like this. I'm in a position in my life where it's funny, because I'm gonna say this and I'm not gonna say no name, so hopefully it'll be fine. But I had this one woman who likes to go around and she tells a lot of people, know your worth. And I think she means it from a good place, so that's good. But the point of me saying this is, you can know your worth. And for me, the thing for me, this is just my own personal thing. I don't know if there's other people, but if there are, you're not alone. But the thing for me is, sometimes it feels like me and God are the only two people that know my worth. Yes, I can have standards and boundaries and cut people off right and left and all of this other stuff, but it does not feel good when you go through life being a cynic, you know, and every single person that you've ever met has never seen your value, you know? And it's not like I'm thinking I'm not good because somebody else doesn't think it, but it does get a little, it makes you feel a little hopeless when you could be hopeful, full of hope because of God, full of belief because you know that God can make anything possible. He is the God of abundance. It's not like I'm going to be at lack of anything when the person who God graced for me comes into my life. In the meantime, it does not feel awesome to be devalued by a bunch of different people that will never see my value because they're not supposed to be with me. It doesn't feel great when you are around certain people and they feel like it's appropriate to say or do things that get them cut off, or have you end up having to remove them from your life, or whatever else. And like I said, I'm content being single, but sometimes with people that are in relationships, or other people who, I don't know what other people there are that do this, but I see a lot of like women and men in relationships. They give really horrible advice to single people, and I don't know if they're happy in their marriage or not because I'm not in their house. But like, I I truly, like, for me, I know my whole situation is gonna be totally different than anybody else's. Everybody's grace for somebody else. And so our story is not the same. So although, you know, when people give like certain advice and stuff and they think it's helpful, sometimes it's really not helpful at all. It's just like, that's not what I needed. Like the know your worth thing. Okay, my business is love yourself. And they just say this randomly. It's not like I was just down and out and I was just like, oh my gosh, no one would ever. Like, I didn't even say anything. I'm just sitting here minding my business, doing a course or something, and they just walk by and say, know your worth. You have to know your worth. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, yes, it's true. Every person should know their worth, but You know, when people say things like that, I don't know if they're deflecting because they don't know their worth or if they really are truly trying to help someone else. Because I really I want to make sure I'm the type of person that's helping people because I want to help them, not because I want to look like I'm helping people. I don't want to just say a word, a phrase, a cliche, something that's popular. I want to make sure that everything I say is with intention because I'm truly trying to help somebody, not because I want to feel like I'm better than someone else, not because I feel like my life is all figured out. God is the one guiding my life. I don't I don't know everything. I know what I know and that's it. And if there's something that I could say to help someone, I want to help them. I'm not trying to give people unsolicited advice. If someone comes to me and they want to vent to me or they ask for my opinion, I will be completely honest. So if you asking me, I'm going to be for real. And so just know that, you know. But I'm not just going around like, hey, you need to do, like, I'm not going to do that to people because everybody's in their own journey. Everybody's going through something different. And unless God puts on my spirit and says, hey, tell this person that everything is going to be okay. Hey, reach out to this person. He puts somebody in my mind and I pray for him or something like that. Unless it's something like that happens, I'm not going out of my way to tell people something that's a random cliche that a lot of people say. I'm not just going to go around trying to make people feel badly about themselves. I want people to love themselves. I really want them to believe in themselves. And yes, people should know their worth. I hear people say that all the time. But do you know what that means? That means that you don't settle for anything. That means that you don't settle for anything less than what God has for you. That means that you truly honor and respect yourself. If you're not honoring and respecting yourself, please don't tell somebody else to do it. Like yes, it's true. You should honor and respect yourself. But I definitely don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to be the type of person telling people something that they're not doing. I want to make sure that people are truly doing things. Like I'm truly doing the things that the things that I'm saying, I'm about that action. Like when I tell people to believe it, I want to believe for more. I want to believe for all the things that God has for me. I'm not just trying to say it because I want to look good online. I'm saying it because I really want to have that faith, even the faith the size of a mustard seed. I want to have, this faith that's unlike anything that I've ever had in my life. I want my faith and my relationship with God to grow every single day for myself, not just to please other people. I want to help other people, yes, but my goal is to please God. And so unless I'm truly helping someone, I don't want to give unsolicited advice to anyone. And I definitely don't want to be that person who ends up in this, marriage to this man that is my kingdom spouse who God graced for me, and to go back and tell other single women, know your worth. I don't want to go around and tell other single women, well, if that was me, like I don't want to ever forget the pain that I had to go through to get here so that I could be relatable to other women that are in their healing season, that are hurting, that really truly do want to love themselves. And it's hard because when you're the only person who sees your value and no one else thinks that you're worth it, it's so hard to leave that relationship when even your friends are telling you that you're stupid for staying in the relationship. And that's a real nasty word to say, but that's truly how it feels when people tell you, well, if I was you, where they give you this advice like their life is all figured out, like they got all the answers. When really, if they went through your journey, if they had to go through your upbringing, if they had to deal with your sadness or any of the things that you've dealt with in the past, that you've struggled through emotionally, physically, whatever, spiritually, if they had to go through any of the spiritual warfare, any of the things that you went through in your life, would they feel worth it and leave this relationship quicker than you, or would they stay in it the same amount of time as you? They don't know how to answer that question. Even if they were in a similar situation, but their upbringing was different. And some people could say, oh, well, and yes, and sometime you do have to, start to learn your value and speak life into yourself and really learn how to heal so that you can be in a healthy relationship. But I never want to be the type of person who just looks down on someone because I made it through and makes it seem as if they're ridiculous for being in the situation that they're in and they might not even want to be there. But it's not going to help them with me looking down my nose at them, making them feel like crap. If they're feeling like crap, how are they ever going to feel good enough to leave? I think we really have to think about the things that we're saying and doing to other people because it might feel good in a moment because you feel like you're better than somebody else, but it is not helping that person. Do you really truly love and care about this person, or do you like them being broken and unhealed? Do you like them in a helpless situation because you want to feel needed by somebody because you don't have anybody that needs you right now? Like, we really have to truly help people because we want to help them and not just because we want to make it seem like we're helping people. Like, I truly care about my friends. I know they're not going to make the same decisions that I make in life. I know that they're in totally different journeys than I am on. If they're in a relationship, whatever it is that they're doing in their life, I speak life to them. That's all I do. If they ask me my opinion on something, I can't speak for someone else in a situation that's with them, but I know them. And I will say what I think, who I think they are, who I know they are. They're incredible. They're beautiful. I speak a life into them. I tell them who I know them to be, who they can become, all the things that I see for their life that I know that they can achieve if they believe in themselves, is the things that I say. I don't just say, well, if I was you, girl, I would do, or, oh, it couldn't be me. No, I'm not saying any of that because I didn't grow up the way that they did. I know them. Yes, we're friends, but I don't know if I would handle the situation with as much class and decency as they have handled it, carrying themselves the way that they have, with all of the responsibility that they have taken on their shoulders to do alone. Like, I don't know if I could do that with that type of class the way that they have. And we really need to start patting ourselves on the back for the things that we have accomplished instead of thinking of the things that we haven't done the right way, so that we can grow in our confidence, so that we can believe in ourselves, so that we can become everything that God created us to be. Because every time we bash someone and we try to make ourselves look good, you don't really look that good. You just look mean. You don't look like you're being Christ-like. You look like you were sent from the adversary when you do stuff like that. Because what good, kind-hearted person is going to want someone to stay stagnant in their life? Any person who truly loves someone is going to want them to grow, to succeed. That's what I want for every person. And they might be succeed in their relationship. They might succeed being single. They might succeed in their relationship. Wherever it is that God wants them to go in their life, that's where I want them to be. I want them to be at their best, getting everything that God had set aside for them. Is what I want for people. I don't want them to just ever feel like, well, you're doing this and I'm doing this, but our story is different. Our journey's not the same. I didn't make the same choices. But just because you made that decision doesn't mean it's ever too late. It is never too late for you to choose God. It's never too late for you to start doing the right thing. It's never too late for you to start living the life that God already had appointed for you. Ever. It's never ever too late. I don't care what no other woman or man says in this world. It is never too late to do the right thing. It is never too late to get a closer relationship with God, to rededicate your life to God, or to give your life to Him. And you don't have to be perfect. I was not perfect at all, and I'm still not perfect. And God still loves me all the same, and He will love you all the same. So, this is a long video. I did not know it was going to be this long. But in conclusion, when your faith starts to, I don't want to say get wavy or, weary or what anything like that, but don't grow weary in doing good. Make sure that you stay focused on God because God's got this. His plan is so much more strategic than you think. And even when you're doing things that seem mundane, that seem like it's not moving forward, God is moving things forward in the background. You just have to stay focused on Him. Don't take your eyes off of him. Don't look at the person beside you. Don't look at the things on Instagram. Don't look at, the people moving into their new house, getting married, unless you're using it as inspiration, saying, I'm next. That's the only time I would say look at something like that. Other than that, stay focused on God, because their story is not your story. The things that He has for them is not the things He has for you. The man, the woman that God has grace for that person is not the man, woman God has grace for you. The things that God wants to do in your life is not going to be like anybody else's. It's going to be totally different, because you are unique and specific. You are specifically made exactly the way that God intended for you to be. You are the head and not the tail. You are above only and not beneath. You are more than a conqueror. All the things that you went through in your life and God saw you through, He will continue to see you through everything that you're going through in your life. Whenever you feel like you just don't see how, God is going to always make a way. And even now, like, as I'm in this weird phase in my life, I still believe that God is going to come through. I know that God is going to do everything, even if the relationship with God changes and I don't see the things in the Bible like the way that I did before. God is still giving me messages through sermons. I'm still seeking His face, regardless if I get whatever it is that I was seeking in that moment or I get it later on in the day. God always answers my questions. And if you have something that's going on in your life, take it to God. If you want to complain, if you want to yell, I mean, don't complain. Like, try not to complain. Really just try to be grateful and thankful for the things that you have. But if you want to shout, if you want to yell, if you want to tell God, I thought this was going to happen, but that happened, I'm in this place, and it seems like all of these things are happening in my life, go to Him. He can handle every single thing that you have to throw at Him. One day, I was so angry at God. I was like, God, you had me do this and I did that, and it seems like I'm doing all these things right, and I didn't even get this thing. And God's like, did I say I was going to give it to you right now? And I'm like, no. Sorry. I'm like, no. And He's like, exactly. But God can seriously handle your temper tantrums, your emotional like roller coaster, you being happy, sad, angry, whatever it is that you're going through in life. God can handle it. Excuse my voice. I haven't had my voice go out like this in a long time. I must be talking for a while. And then there was a lot of smoke and stuff in the air today. So so I think that's what's messing with my voice. Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna be able to keep talking because my voice is starting to go up. No matter what you're going through. No matter what you are going through, God is going to always see you through. You have to believe. When you write down your goals, when you write down the things that you want in life, believe for it, because it can happen. The only thing that's holding it up is you. You're the only one that doesn't believe it's possible. Your haters see that it's on you. That light, you shining bright. Like, people see you and they hating on you for no reason, because they see the grace all over you. They see that there's more in your life, and that you're going to accomplish everything that you set your mind to do, set that you set forth to do. So stay focused on God. Oh my gosh, my voice sounds so weird. But stay focused on God and know that He is going to come through everything that your heart desires. Everything that is what He wants for your life. Your life is going to happen. It might not happen right now. It might not happen in a week, but it is going to happen. Right now, you just have to be focused and stay faithful and believe that no matter what's going on, it's going to be okay. God is going to take care of you. The thing that really helps me stay faithful is listening to sermons and listening to songs. And sometimes there will be a song that I haven't heard, or I heard a long time ago, and God will allow me to hear the song, and it'll be exactly what I needed to give me the faith that I needed in that moment. Like, right when I thought that I couldn't believe for it, right when I thought that it couldn't be possible, I hear someone else's testimony in the song, and it's identical to some of the things that I went through. And it's not exactly the same, of course, because our journeys are all different, but it's like I was here and I was going through this, and even through these things, God is still good. And I'm like, yes, He is still good. It's like a reminder, like, yes, God is always good. He's always been good and is always going to be good to me. So why would I need to grow weary? I need to just keep doing good. I need to just keep staying focused on God because He's got this. He's got me. He's got everything that I need. Everything. The little things that we're thinking about that we want for our life is nothing compared to God. God is abundant. That kingdom spouse that, I want now. God's got him shipped up on the way. He's just waiting for both of us to prepare the right way. I don't want to get him prematurely. I want to make sure that I'm in a good position and I'm doing the things that I need to do because I want him to be respected and feel safe and seen with me. I don't want to be in this place where I got this wall up and, I'm unhealed or anything like that. I really want to be ready. I want to be the person that God intended me to be so that I can help him in the way that I'm supposed to, you know, and I want him to be where he needs to be so that he can lead me and we're both focusing on God and on God because I don't want to just be going anywhere. We need to be going in a direction and have a real vision for our life. I say our like we're already together. But listen, no, seriously. If both of us is focused on God and God graced us for each other, God already has a strategic plan for the plans that He has for us. Plans to prosper us and not to harm us. And so in order for him to be able to do that in my life and that person's life, we are going to have to go through this journey. We're going to have to be prepared the right way. Because if God would give me it prematurely, that would be the adversary. That would not be a blessing. It would be a curse. And I definitely want the blessing. If God wants to bless my business, I'm going to have to really be a good steward of the things that I have right now. My business might be doing absolutely nothing right now, but I still have to steward it well because when the time comes, I need to be prepared. And who knows what I'm learning right now that's going to help me in the future. So just stay focused on God and believe for all of the things that you write and put on your vision board. Know that it's possible. God can make anything happen. You don't have to doubt it at all. God got you.